And what do I tell the person who is too tired to go on? What do I tell the one who says, I'm too tired? God said, tell him, I got tired too. Jesus sat down in Samaria. That's where, to talk to a woman. That's who. Asking for water. That's what. But why? Because he was tired. Because he was fully God, fully man. As much as we love to shout about his divinity, you know how we were a minute ago? When I was setting you up about the great I am, just to bring you back down so you could know that the same God who created you, who was strong enough, who was powerful enough. Everybody thinks Jesus was weak. Raise your hand. Maybe being weary doesn't mean you're weak. Jesus, tired. Why was he tired? I didn't say who was he tired of. We already know it was Peter. Come on, Peter's fighting you at every turn, cussing and stuff in front of the press, having to bleep Peter out, you know. I know he was tired of the Pharisees. He couldn't wash his hands or not wash his hands. They followed him to every bathroom, every dinner. I know he was tired of them, but it says he was tired from the journey. Thinking about Jesus' journey, you know. They walked everywhere. No Uber. No Uber Jesus, Uber Christ, Uber Savior. 3-day walk from where they were baptizing through Samaria. Straight through was the shortcut, by the way. The direct route is sometimes the divine route. Instead of hiding the fact that you're tired, you just say, God, I'm tired. Somebody was yawning during my sermon one time and I just got mad about it. I said, how are you tired? You're not doing anything. You know, but I found out later they worked a night shift and came straight to church. It's kind of hard to understand someone if you only see them at one part of their journey. And some people that we think are weak maybe are weary. Have you thought about that? That just because you're weary, it doesn't make you weak. How do you know that? Jesus. I am the light of the world. I am the bread of life. I am the resurrection. I am the door. I am the shepherd. I am the true vine. I am the way. At some point, 6 hours after they left that morning at noon, he said something we wouldn't expect to hear the Savior say. I am tired. This is the incarnation. I worship a God who is powerful enough to give me strength and who is human enough to get tired. And for some reason, this week, I felt that some of us needed to meet tired Jesus. I thought maybe you could relate to him because his journey didn't really start with just leaving that morning. I mean, that's enough. 6 hours that day. 6 hours in one day. I mean, I got a 6-hour drive coming up with my kids, and I'm downloading every episode of The Office on all of their phones, just hoping we can make it 6 hours, still be saved, still be married, still be healed, delivered, blessed, and one happy family. And that's a drive. 6 hours. Because you leave at 6, it's noon, it's hot, it's the heat of the day. Of course he's tired. And yet I wondered, was it only physical? Or did he go through Samaria because he was tired of the way they were treating each other? Why was he tired? Why did he come? To abolish the barriers, full of grace and truth, and we beheld his glory. His journey didn't start in Bethlehem. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh. That's a long trip. And I believe God is revealing some things to us in this season. I believe God is revealing to his church in this season that he has made us for a time when the world is so divided, when he has made us for a time that the world is so apathetic. And he sat by the well. He sat by the well to talk to a woman who had had 5 husbands and was living with number 6 so she could know he was number 7. On the first day, God worked. On the second day, God worked. On the third day, God worked. On the fourth day, God worked. On the 5th day, God worked. On the 6th day, God worked. What did he do on the 7th? He sat down, not because he needed rest, but because she did. And that's what I love about a God who will not only fight for me and walk with me and talk with me, but God said to tell you this week, he is the God who will come through 41 generations and go through Samaria just to sit with you. Just to sit with you. Sit with him for a minute. He might show you something that is within you that nobody else noticed. This woman had been passed around like the jar that she carried to the well that day. She knew what it was to feel used. Did he sit down at the well that day because he was tired? Or because she was? You tired of being used by people? You tired of being manipulated by people? Sit with me. Because I'm not seated where you're seated. When I sit with him, he has seated me with him in heavenly places, far above every ruler and principality. You say, I'm tired. God said, me too. I'm tired of seeing how people treat one another too. I'm tired of the injustice too. That's why I came in the form of a man, so that I could be what man could never be. I came to hang on a cross and say, it is finished, so that you can rest. I know we got work to do, but can we sit for a minute? Can we just sit with him for a minute? By the well that will never run dry. Some of us passed E a long time ago. The tank has been empty a long time. So God says, I want you to sit with me. When you sit with me, you will see with me. When you sit with me, who is this for? Just raise your hand right now in the room. Raise your hand in the chat. Say, this is for me. I want to sit with him. I want to sit by the well that has living water. I want to sit away from the streams that are poisoned by the prejudice of men. I want to sit with him for a minute. And Jesus, tired as he was, said to his disciples, y'all go get some food. I've got to get a harvest. Now, I believe God sent me to preach this message to somebody today who is tired on the inside. And no amount of sleep, no amount of Netflix and numbing it, and no amount of pacing the floors is going to solve it. And I believe God brought you into his presence today for a reason. And I think he woke me up at 3 in the morning this night, the night before, so that I could feel a little bit physically while I preach this, how you've been feeling before we got here. How Jesus felt was how the woman felt. Even youth will grow tired and weary, and young men will stumble and fall, but they that wait on the Lord will renew their strength. And God said, even if you don't have the patience to wait for me, I'm waiting for you. When you are tired, you must be very careful that you do not become dehydrated. You have got to drink this water. You have got to drink this word. You have got to drink this worship. You have got to move away from wells that will never quench your thirst. And you have got to receive the word, and the word was with God. And the reason that you came to church today is God wanted to give you water. He knows you're tired. He knows you're thirsty. He hung on a cross and said, I thirst too. He stretched his arms this wide because he was tired of it too. And the man who was God became man, and he who knew no sin became sin, that we might become the righteousness of God. And he said to the woman, and he said to me, and he said to you, come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I am the bread of life. I am the resurrection.